What's up, everybody? It is PJ North, and we are back at Around the Mat Pod, live in full effect. It's the week after Mania. Everything is a buzz in the wrestling world, and I'm super pumped to be back. Last week, I got to do it by myself, unfortunately, because my friends didn't like me enough to hang out with me. But this week, I brought 3 friends along. But before we do that, if you're watching on YouTube right now, please hit that like and subscribe button. You know how this works. Comment, answer the trivia questions. Tell me what your thoughts and feelings are on the wrestling world right now. All that good stuff. So make sure you do that and hit the, and look, I forgot my light already, but nonetheless, we are here today and I'm ready to get it started and introduce my friends here. So, well, before I do that, social medias, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all those. It's at Around the Mat Pod. We're not hard to find. I am DPJ North, and these are my friends this week. In the bottom left, we got back from Canada, Brad Myers, refs. Brad, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm exhausted from this past weekend, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Hell yeah. In the bottom right, we got Danny Tancredi, Danny Drip from Filthbomb Wrestling. Danny, how you feeling?
Yes, sir. Feeling good. Hell of a WrestleMania. Super excited for what's to come.
Let's
get right into it.
I love that. And in the top right, we've got a new member of the Around the Mat Pod family. It is Nick Fiorentino. Did I pronounce that right?
You did, actually.
Man,
you
look
didn't
at
spell it right on the itinerary. But
that was an accident. That wasn't my fault. I forgot the E-N.
All good.
So Nick has joined us, man. Nick was former host of Mark's Side of the Ring, right? Kind of former host with Miguel.
Yeah,
so
side.
That's how I've known Nick. I've known him for a long time. And we're going to talk a little wrestling today. I'm super pumped to do it. So thanks, everybody, for joining, man. We've got a huge show, right? Everybody knows Mania happened. A lot of stuff. But if you're joining us for the first time, this is Around the Mat, where I go around the mat judging my friends and wrestling personalities and wrestling fans and journalists' opinions and give out points. And at the end, we crown a world champion. Hopefully it'll be me. I'm a consecutive world champion. I won last week because it was just me. So this week we're going to kick it off. We've got a lot to talk about, I should say. And I've got to get all my screens right before we go too far forward. So hold on just 1 second. Boom. I've got it fixed. All right. We're 1 down. We've already got that right. First things first, it is WrestleMania Night 1. And we're going to, what happened here? Kick this off. Boom. There it is. We're going to kick it off WrestleMania Night 1. And Nick, you are new to the gang, so I'm going to let you start. Just focused on Night 1. You could talk about the Hall of Fame or anything prior to that if you'd like. But Night 1, what was your thoughts overall? What was your favorite part? Let us know.
I think most people think that Night 1 was probably the lesser of the 2 nights, and I would agree with that. I know it was very, very cold for you guys that were there. And
hoodies up, baby.
Into it. Yeah, I know that played into it with the crowd. You could see that they were a little flat. But I thought overall, I mean, I was trying to explain it to a few friends. I thought it was a great premium live event show. I don't know if it necessarily felt like a Mania show outside of the main event. There were some good matches in there, and there was definitely some top talent on Night 1. Of course, they tried to divvy it out the best they can, but overall, I thought I gave it a B-. I feel like that's pretty fair. But that's my opinion on it. I mean, overall, it was kind of flat.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, from a crowd perspective, right? A lot of people said that. I think that it was like a lot of energy going on because we're all so hyped to see The Rock, right? Everyone's like so excited for that thing and Cody and the story at the end. It's like really hard. And I was telling people that like about Night 2, it's like, I don't even know if I want to see the other matches. I'm so excited for the main event. So I don't know if it felt like that, but it was damn cold outside. Man, we were hoodied up, jacketed up. I had gloves on. The guy next to me was from Germany and he's like, in Germany, he's like, it's fucking cold. I'll bleep that out on the YouTube show. It's cold. I was like, all right, fair enough. All right, so B plus. Okay, I like where your head's at. What was your favorite match of Night 1?
Favorite match for sure, Gunther and Sami Zayn. I think that they tore it down. Great match. I thought the build was a little hokey, but then I started thinking about it. In Philadelphia, obviously had a very big Rocky vibe to like the montage and everything. I heard that they were going to try to do some kind of running up the art steps, but that didn't come to fruition. But overall, that was the match of the night to me. I had the most vested in that match from a storyline perspective, so I think that's the best one.
Okay. All right. I like that. All right, Danny Tanc, you were there with me night one. What were your thoughts, man?
I thought it was a solid show from top to bottom. I mean, to me, the only match that really fell flat was the Usos. It just felt like a super kick fest, and the match actually wasn't even as long as I thought it would have been. You know, the one highlight is just the begging for forgiveness by Jimmy and then swerving him. So, thankfully, night two, they were able to kind of fix that up with that spot on the stage. But
where he tried to murder his brother. Oh my God, that was like Kane Undertaker tried to murder his brother.
Literally, it was insane. But night one, my match of the night, I'm going to exclude the actual main event just because
obviously.
That's its own separate category. And The Rock, I don't want to be too biased, but Rhea Ripley for me and Becky Lynch, I thought they did a great job of getting the crowd going. Like Nick said, the crowd was a little flat, and I think it was because of the cold weather. But I felt the crowd was hot for that match, and Rhea is as over as any female or male in the business right now. So it was great to see her retain. We'll see what happens and where that goes. I know Liv Morgan attacks her on Raw, so Mommy's always on top, and she's here to stay for a while.
Bless up for Mommy on top. What a night. All right, okay, Brad. What about you, man? You got to before we go too far. Brad is a full on psychopath. Brad texts me. Mind you, we've been talking about this for months about going to Mania, not going to Mania, kind of going to Mania. Maybe I'll think about going to Mania. Mind you, he lives in Toronto. So it's an 8-hour drive. I thought it was like close. In my mind, when you're like, oh, I'm going to drive, I'm like, oh, it's got to be close. Yeah, he texts me Friday morning after saying all week he's not going. Post pictures. I think he even texted me at like 10 a.m. on Friday, like, I'm not coming. Then next thing I know, he's there on Friday night. And I was like, my guy is in there. So let me preface it with that. But Brad, what was your thought night one? I mean, it had to have been electric. You and Dustin making your guys' way down. And only being there for night one, of course. But what was your thoughts there?
Man, I thought it was great. I thought from top to bottom, everything delivered. From where we were, the crowd sounded pretty hot. So I don't know where everyone's getting this idea that it wasn't. When they did the boo yeet thing in the Usos match, like that crowd was incredibly hot. I get sound goes up. We were near the top, so that probably makes sense. I thought it was great, though. The main event absolutely delivered. If we're not including that, best match of the night was for sure Gunther and Sami Zayn. That brainbuster, insane. Loved it. Couldn't believe he actually did it. So much so that I thought night two we were getting the package pile driver. I thought for sure it was going to happen.
I put that I yelled that in the crowd. I put this in the chat too. I yelled brainbuster in the crowd, and like nobody really got it except this one guy that's in front of me, and he turned around and nodded, and I was like, that's my guy right there. He's watched a few PWG matches. And I thought the same thing.
There were people in our section that came up and like, did they just mess that up?
Everyone thought they botched online. There was one of the big Twitter people was like, oh, he botched. I'm like, I don't think you've watched wrestling ever outside of WWE. You don't even know that he existed outside of this.
Yeah, and I thought it was incredible. The girls in the opener tore it up. The riptide into the buckle was awesome.
I thought that was the best part of that match too.
Right into the finish, which was perfect. I thought it was really good. The whole show was great. Every match served its purpose, and no complaints.
Yeah, I agree. I think night one was really, it's such a build because I'm there, right? I get there Thursday night, and then you're there Friday for SmackDown. And at first, I didn't know SmackDown was going to deliver, but it does. And then I'm there for NXT earlier in the day, and NXT was banger after banger. And you're just like, man, I don't know how I can. I mean, I love wrestling, right? I watch all of it, so I'm like invested in all of it. And I thought, all right, I don't know how I'm going to continue to get hyped, but man, it just never stopped. I was like fully invested the whole time. Other than and I've told people this a lot, I have the worst luck of seats with terrible people behind me, just utterly the worst. And I thought I was going to turn around and crossroads like the three people behind us. Danny, I was so angry. I was so angry the whole time. This one guy behind me, look, man, I do a lot of dorky stuff. Like I do voiceover video game stuff. Like I get it. And the guy behind me is doing this like terrible Gorilla Monsoon voice, but he kept hammering the same. And I was literally about to turn around and be like, hey man, he said other stuff. I was gonna throw him off the ledge. 120, he was gonna be sitting in 119.
What was his favorite quote? Was it, "This crowd is going bananas"?
Yes, like something. I don't even remember what it was. I was so angry at that time. And then then we get to the main event, right? So we get to the main event, and the dude behind me to the left with the title belts booing Cody. F your story, F your story. I was like, I will literally take your CM Punk bands that you have on right now, tie them around your throat, and toss you down the stairs. I was so frustrated. I was like, bro, you're ruining this for me. I can't believe Miguel didn't say anything. He was right behind Miguel. Yeah. I was like, this is terrible. So other than that, though, man, all in all to be said, I loved night one. I knew what was going to happen. In my mind, there was no way Cody was winning night one. No way. So I thought that was cool the way they did it. I thought the spear set it up. The fact that they didn't entertain Roman versus Rock after the fact was whatever. I'm sure it'll come later on, but that part got me. Back to the Rhea Becky match. I made a huge, colossal mistake of selecting Becky in the pool. Huge mistake. I don't know why I did it. I thought because she had the book just come out that it was going to be like a thing, because that's normally what they do. Oh no, we lost I did the thing. Hold on, sorry about that, guys. There it is. Sorry. I've got this automatic turner here, and I'm not sure. There it is. Okay.
Is this your first show, you Mark?
I know. It's my first time. I lost my train of thought. Point being, Rhea winning was awesome. I thought her intro. Normally, the live intros are kind of weird, but I thought they did a good job. What they did was what I think they did was pre-record the band so that they played live and it sounded live, but then his vocal was live. So that was like a good thing, because normally, like when they're trying to do both, especially with that atmosphere in it's not like playing a concert where you have all these in-ears and everything set up. It's like I thought what they did was really cool. It was really effective. And Rhea, as you said, man, mommy's always on top. So I thought that was great.
PJ, real quick, too, I think with that match, and to Danny's point about it being the match of the night, so, Becky Lynch, strep throat, high fever going into the match. And then you have Rhea Ripley, who apparently suffered a really bad panic attack right before going out.
Crazy, right?
It's freezing cold out, and you have all of this adversity going into it, and I'm happy with the outcome. But the match delivered for sure, considering all of the obstacles that they had to go into that match. So it really was a great match, and just pointing out that those two girls did a great job, given their both circumstances.
I agree 100%. After I reading that afterwards, it was really cool to see. That's the cool stuff that I think about the backstage that I do want to know. The other stuff that happens backstage, I don't really care as much, but that point really adds to the story, right? Where Rhea's just because the next day, right, she's on whatever talk show, and she was like, yeah, man, I'm having a full-on panic attack because it's 80,000 people. Mind you, she just wrestled Charlotte last year, same situation, but this time she's like, you know what I mean? It's a different animal, and so I thought that was really interesting. And to Danny's point, I will go back to Danny's point, the Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, I was really upset about that. I was like, this match was terrible, but it points out to the thing that people say Jimmy can't wrestle solo, and that's fine, because I think Jey can, because Jey's put in situations where the other wrestlers are so good. Every match that Jey's had as a solo, I thought has been good, right? His matches are great. They do the yeet thing, they do the spot, they do all the stuff. It's really good. And Jimmy hasn't really wrestled solo yet at all, except for Jey. So I thought that part was I was really let down by it. I was like, man, that was a really lackluster deal there. But all in all, pretty good for night one. Moving on, night two. I thought it was amazing, but I'm not going to kick it off. I'm going to let Bradley kick it off. Brad Myers, because you sat at home in the warmth of your cozy little couch in Toronto. What were your thoughts, night two, man?
I'll tell you, it looked a hell of a lot warmer night two than it did night one.
It was incredible. It was so much warmer on night two. I was like, damn, this is kind of a vibe. I'm out here. I'm ready to take the jacket off.
The sun was out. The sun was shining, and the show absolutely delivered. How do you not say Roman and Cody was the match of probably the year? I mean, that thing was an epic. It's the WWE's version of Endgame, and it was just incredible. The rest of the show was great, but nothing is ever going to come close to that.
You know, you said that it was Endgame. Have you guys seen the tweet where he said it was he actually liked the one that said instead of Avengers, it was actually Star Wars?
Okay, I can see that too.
He said it was actually Star Wars, which I thought was cool. That was an interesting take. What outside of the main event, what was your favorite match on night two?
Man, that Philly street fight had no business being as good as it was. I get it was a nostalgia thing, but I loved it. I thought it was great.
Thank God I got up for that match. That's the one match I missed the whole pay-per-view. I love the Street Profits as a whole. I do. I love the Street Profits. Big Street Profits guy. But the Final Testament and Street Profits has been going on way too long, and it is not
Yeah,
good.
I mean, I agree.
His story is and also, let me tell you something about Bubba Ray. Bubba Ray does this thing where he complains about other companies, and he's all this stuff, and he's on the radio, and I get it's a character, and he's doing all this stuff, and then he shows up to be. I'm over it, man. I'm so glad I missed.
had no idea where the hard cam was the entire match. Drove me nuts.
He's been out of wrestling so long, he doesn't know where the hard cam is.
But I mean, the whole show was good. The triple threat was incredible.
Yeah,
it was everything it needed to be. Logan Paul stealing the win at the end was great.
I thought so too, and I didn't really want to see Speed there, but I thought that was a cool spot the way Randy Orton tried to kill him. Like, legitimately, was just like, oh, you want to be in wrestling? Let me show you how it is out here, dog.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. All right. Danny Drip, what about you, man? Night 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to top what they did for that main event. Just 5-star, incredible from the start to the very finish. On the edge of your seat, couldn't miss a second. It was perfect. I know a bunch of my friends were hitting me up and were like, oh, I'm so mad Stone Cold didn't come out. But in hindsight, I am very glad he didn't come out. Because, one, I think it would have took away Cody's moment. When Stone Cold comes out and the place erupts, all the focus is going to be on him. No one's going to even care who else is in that match. And then number 2, for Cody, I like how they kind of put everything together and the dead man comes out and he finishes it off and then they do the quick finish. I thought it was incredibly paced well. Like, you never thought the match was dragging out. It was constantly like good action, good action, good action. And then the interferences all happened within that 5-minute span. So that was very well done. I think it was meticulously planned and it reflected in the show. But other than that, my match of the night, Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre.
Wow, so good.
Yeah. That's.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that's the thing is I wanted to skip all the matches and go to the main event before we got there. And then I realized what matches were left, and I was like, holy shit, this is the best night. This is the best paper. This PLE by itself is a number 1 PLE, just this one.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I love when the match starts right away and then bang, finishing move. Everyone's shocked. They think they're going to get the quick pin, and that just captures my attention right away.
I was hooked. They knew exactly what they were doing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the cash in, I mean, come on.
Oh, the cash in was incredible. Absolutely.
Because it was like perfectly planned. It's almost like you felt like you knew it was coming because Punk got involved, but still awesome. Just amazing moment, which is really, really cool.
And you guys were there live, so I don't know if you guys like went back and watched it. The camera work that was happening was absolutely incredible. They just like Punk was laughing, then the music hit, and he had this shit-eating grin on his face. The camera work has just been absolutely incredible.
Dude, the new producer, does that not speak volumes that Kevin Dunn should have been fired years ago if he was the one that leads
100%.
the production? It's crazy. Don't get me wrong, they have some misses where they'll be like, because the guy's still relatively getting used to some of the nuance thing, where they'll like go to the fan cut, and you're like, why did we go to the fan cut there? Like, whatever, but like the cool stuff that they've added has been unbelievable. So I agree with that. Nick, what about you, man? What was your thoughts on night 2?
I mean, I'm piggybacking on all three of you. I mean, the main event was an homage to everything I've ever loved about professional wrestling.
Preach.
I mean, you saw the TikToks, you saw all this stuff. It's like Barstool puts out the greatest 5 minutes in wrestling, and everything on the end. But I think what's taken away, and to Danny's point around Stone Cold, I feel like the only thing that it missed was it should have been Stone Cold. John Cena had something going on with Solo, so that made sense. Who better at a WrestleMania or anywhere to put The Rock away than Stone Cold Steve Austin? That being said, The Undertaker, I feel like, was a great surprise as well. The crowd erupted for it. The crowd was way better for it. But all of that aside, I think what's missed in everything is just the absolute incredible chemistry that Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns have for 2 years in a row. And you're going to get another match. But the two of them are great wrestlers, and their matches are so believable and they're so good that I don't think that stuff at the end took away from it. But I think that just overall it was an absolutely brilliant match. A+ on night 2 for sure, which is why I thought the overall WrestleMania was a solid A.
Yeah.
But I think match of the night was definitely the first night as well. I mean, aside from the main event, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins was incredible. Danny's point again, you almost thought you were getting the Daniel Bryan Sheamus right off the bat, but you didn't. And it was an incredible match with a ton of false finishes, a ton of kickouts on finishing moves. And then, you get the end, and you get Damian Priest coming out, which, you know, everybody wanted. People were kind of ragging on him, the worst Money in the Bank person of all time. And I thought the best part, I'll leave with this. I thought the best part was they had like an image on like all of the reigns that ended. No pun, but Roman Reigns, over 1,000 days champion, ended. Gunther, 666 days as champion, ended. Seth Rollins, ended 300-something days. Drew McIntyre, 7 minutes. The greatest, the greatest streaks and
That's
reigns
incredible.
coming to an end. It was pretty funny. But yeah, overall, awesome night of wrestling.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about it that was so electric, was like it kicked it off with the world title, and like just right away with the kick, I was just like, oh shit, this is about to end already. Holy, and my mind was like melted at that point. And I do think Damian Priest deserved it. I think the Punk thing, along with Rollins and McIntyre, is a great story. They've done a great job intertwining himself just because of how it's all worked out, and continuing that is amazing. Yeah, the triple threat was great. When, you know, Kevin Owens backs the golf cart up and he's like, "Get in, stupid. We're going to beat up Logan Paul." I was like, this is amazing. And then, I mean, of course, look, man, I'm a Cody guy through and I've said that forever. And I think it was the crazy thing to me is I don't know that I've ever really had a world champion that I've been alive for that I cared as much about as I do Cody winning, right? I've never been, of course, like, you know, I say Okada and all that stuff, but like in Japan, it's a little different with world champions. And I've been an Okada fan forever. And I've been and so like, but with Cody, there's this like weird I was like emotionally overcome at that point. I was like, why am I like you get like goosebumps, and you know it's coming, right? He hits that third one and you're like, it's finally happening. Cody Rhodes is about to go. And I think a little bit of it is my tie to hatred for Miguel in our wrestling group chat. It's kayfabe hate, but it's a little bit tied to that, to finally overcome that. But man, seriously, I can't imagine a better way to finish WrestleMania and to start a new era, and the way that they lead with the whole new era thing, and it's a different time. And like you said, look, I've never complained about Roman Reigns wrestling when he wrestles. My whole thing has always been he just never shows up. And so, but he when he's in ring, he's done a great job, and that match was awesome, right? He hit the crossroads, and he's like, I knew that move sucked. Didn't put anybody away. I thought that was hilarious.
Incredible.
There was so many subtleties, and then booking the finish with Taker and Cena and Solo, and I don't get the Undertaker over Stone Cold thing. I don't know that I really need to.
I think it does make sense because, like, the whole point of it
because Roman beat Taker at some point too.
Yeah,
right?
It wasn't about The Rock.
Yeah,
it was about them getting retribution on Roman.
Okay,
so
makes
like,
sense.
It makes sense that Taker's the one that chokeslams him and allows Cody to say, "Finish your story."
Because Roman's the last guy he wrestled at Mania.
Well, Roman beat him at Mania. I don't know if he was the last.
Oh, okay, but he did beat. I knew he beat him, but I didn't know which one he was. I can't remember. But agreed, man. Like I said, all in all this to say, just I'm so excited that we could be there, man. Again, it's WrestleMania 40, such a great time. Lincoln Financial, I will say this, is the worst stadium in the history of
professional. That's terrible. No. Terrible.
Bruh.
What didn't you like about it?
The infrastructure's terrible. Like I'm not kidding. 70,000 people at the Link. I was like, don't y'all have a football game all the time? Y'all had like a top NFC
always
team.
In my house wider than the concourse.
Yeah, dude, I'm not kidding you, Nick. It was so bad walking to your seats. I'm shoulder to shoulder in everywhere we go. We're shoulder to shoulder to leave the place. We're shoulder to shoulder. Dude, traffic to get out of and I get it, man. Traffic's whatever, but like, what are we? It was that experience of it. Now inside the stadium was great. The as far as like the seats were going in our view, that was awesome. But like the infrastructure they ran out of food on Friday or on Saturday. They ran out of food.
That's shocking.
That is baffling to me. How do you? You're a stadium. How does that happen?
I'll be super biased.
Right, I know that you're an Eagles fan. Right, I get it.
But I'm an Eagles fan in New Jersey, so obviously I've been to MetLife plenty of times. MetLife is arguably the worst
terrible
stadium ever.
Sure.
And I was just telling somebody the other day, the reason why I like Lincoln Financial Field so much more than Philadelphia overall than other arenas or venues is that they usually open up the parking lots for where the Phillies play, the Flyers play, and the Sixers, and where the Eagles play. So you're almost getting like three.
I do agree with that.
Lots worth.
Yeah.
When I left WrestleMania 29 at MetLife, it was the worst experience ever.
That's fair.
They've also got a really good subway system.
They did have a great, and Brad also he got to experience the subway, so he like had that figured out. which is awesome. Like I said, though, my only thing was like the infrastructure outside of the actual field where wrestling was happening. I was like, this is horrible. This is absolutely terrible. How is it taking us so long? And how are all these, like, it was like we were like all, it's so weird. I felt like that was real. I just felt like it was really strange. Especially because, in Nashville at Nissan, it's very pedestrian oriented because there's not a lot of parking and you take the pedestrian bridge from Broadway to go to a game. So it's like, it's very, like, it's open air. So there's like not that kind of craziness, but that part I was like baffled. I was like, what is happening right now? This is terrible. But I did think we went to Wells Fargo. I went there 3 times and I thought it was awesome. It was pretty cool. The layout of it was neat. Got to see the flyer stuff. So,
have you guys all been to a bunch of WrestleManias?
I've only been to 3, the last 3 in a row. Danny, how many have you been to?
This was my second.
Okay. You went to the MetLife one as well?
MetLife, yep.
Okay. Brad, what about you? How many have you been to?
That was my 4th.
4th, okay. Hell yeah.
Well, I just was interested in what your favorite stadiums were of the ones. I mean, I had 28 and 29, and I already told you I hated 29's venue, so mine's default Miami. But what were your favorite ones? Like, if you could, think back.
I mean, Dome Sweet Dome, baby. I love the Sky Dome.
Yeah.
Oh, you were at 17?
18.
18, sorry.
18.
18.
Yeah.
That was sick. That's
and
fair.
the Superdome in New Orleans is awesome too. So.
Yeah, so that's what I would have said. I think a lot of people would have said 30 because the Superdome is supposed to be really cool. It's a Mercedes, and now even with it's not Mercedes anymore. It's something else, right? Because Georgia is a Mercedes.
I thought it was still Mercedes-Benz.
I thought that was Atlanta's. Nonetheless.
No, that's just Mercedes Stadium or something.
Oh,
like that.
man, Mercedes got that money, baby. All right. With that being said, we're gonna continue on this train, right? Everything that happened with all of the stuff that's ongoing right now. Where are we headed? Where are we going? I like to fantasy book just because I think it's a little more fun than like constantly complaining about things that are happening that I see on a lot of podcasts. Right? And I'm not in the business, so I don't know, but I do. Before we go too far, do you see that? What about that Barry Club? We know about that, Brad
Barry
Meyer.
Club, baby. Barry Club.
I thought it was Barry.
Barry, baby.
Now it's Barry?
It's Barry now.
All right, fair enough. But no, I think we'll talk about where are we headed just to get into it because I think wrestling as a whole, man, is so exciting. WWE specifically, though, Cody, right, they announced today, nightmares do come true. That was a cool tagline for Backlash. Who do we think, you can talk about anything, but I'll go first here. I think specifically we're moving forward to I hope Cody Rhodes has a year-long run. I don't need to see Cody win. I don't need to see him hold it for 5 years. I'm not that guy, right? I'm not that Roman guy who's like, oh, he's got to be the champion. It doesn't matter. I'm cool with whatever. I just love the whole part of it. So I'm interested to see who wrestles Cody because I don't know who's going to be number 1 contender, right? Seth's out for a month. CM Punk's still out. Drew McIntyre's got to face Damian or something, especially with Clash at the Castle coming up. Damian Priest is world champ. There's going to be a lot of new people lifted up, and I'm very excited to see what happens with all of that because they're called up Braun, right? Braun's coming back to the main roster. Ilya's coming to the main roster. Not that Ilya's going to be in it, but you know what I mean? They're bringing up a lot of people, and they're doing a great job lifting up. Look, man, we joked around about H all the time, but I do think H has maybe the greatest mind of our generation of professional wrestling, right? He's got that Paul Heyman-esque thing where he's managed to not only take over the business, but he's taken it over in such a way that he hasn't had a bad idea yet. And he's been in control, right? So like we're going to see if and not everything's going to be 100% booking, but he gets the storytelling part of it along with the fact that we also love banging matches. So like we're going to get the best of both worlds, I hope. I'm excited to see that. So where are we headed? I'm interested to see what happens with the draft. The draft's going to be exciting. WWE, look, I was at Raw on Monday. It is electric. I'm telling you. And I love the new stage setup with the LED entryway. I love it because, and I've said this multiple times too, WWE has the worst Titantrons. They're terrible right now. They don't focus on it. It's not their thing. And so I'm very excited to see what they do with just that limited stage. I think it's going to be cool, man. 20,000 people or 18,000 people at all these venues. It's going to be nuts. And Siri's having a mind of its own over here. But I'm very excited to see what happens there. So I think where we're headed is going to be super exciting. And that's kind of my thought. Danny, where do you think we're going, man?
Well, I think you got to start off with a really good heel that is going to be the setup for Cody. So obviously Cody's not going to lose the title in his first feud. He's going to get it for a little bit. I think your 2 routes you could go. One would be Finn Balor, and you can kind of paint the story with Finn Balor that now he's the only one without gold, and he screwed them with the tag title. So maybe he wants that top spot, and he wants to hop right in and go to the WWE Championship. The second option for me, it's a shame that he lost at WrestleMania, was AJ Styles. Because I think right now, if you position who's been on a win streak that's a monster heel that deserves it, it's Gunther. But you also don't want to ruin Gunther and bury him right away by losing to Cody. Throughout.
Do you think it really buries him though right away? Like everybody says, it's like, oh, if you lose the first time, like, does it really bury him?
It could potentially. I mean, if you're going to have him consistently lose to Cody, and you don't want Cody escaping narrow victories when he's been trying to do that the whole time in the Roman feud, where Roman's getting these victories, and it's like you don't want that to come off again. So I prefer let Cody go strong and let him start with great matches with two great talents and two good heels.
What if we give a false finish? What if it is Gunther and they do like a chair shot or something like that, or he chokes out, he chokes out Cody, but he chokes him out to a 5 count. Cody's holding the ropes and he chokes him out or something like that.
Well, I mean, how long could you take the program though?
I'm just saying. I think that there's a lot of options, is all. Yeah.
Or Judgment Day, and Cody could carry a feud for 4 months.
Sure.
Again, you don't want to burn the Gunther feud that could be big money in 2 months.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
That's just why I'm trying against that. But I like what they did with NXT talent. Why not promote a show by having your champions go over?
Yeah.
I thought that was solid, and I'm excited to continue to see R-Truth.
Damn, I can't wait for R-Truth. Dude, him holding up the title with Judgment Day was incredible.
Awesome.
He's the best. Good. How could you not like this guy?
It's so good.
I hope they revitalize the tag division.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Nick, what about you, man? Where do you think we're headed?
So I got 3 things, and I also thought AJ Styles first when you were asking the question. I mean, that makes the most sense. We have the draft coming up, so it might not even be somebody that's on the show. It might be somebody that's drafted over to create a new feud. I think the things that I'm looking most forward to seeing where we're headed is, it's going to be interesting to see when the fans turn on Cody Rhodes, because I think that eventually will happen, unfortunately. I hope it doesn't, because I think Cody deserves a good long run. But I just feel like history shows that, the fans get what they want, and then they kind of slowly start to turn, and they're like, all right, well, we got it.
Now we want this next thing. Right.
The biggest thing I'm looking forward to and seeing is when you look at WrestleMania overall, and Triple H, I mean, it was like a Triple H fest, and some very subtle burials of Vince and some not so subtle burials of Vince. It's clearly Triple H's show, and if you look back at the results of the show, I think if you polled the overall wrestling community, a lot of them wanted Bayley to win, probably majority, and she did. They wanted Cody to finish his story, and he did. They wanted Drew McIntyre to win, and he did. And I think a lot of people outside of PJ on his WrestleMania pool wanted Rhea Ripley to win, and she did.
I did want Rhea Ripley to win. I just chose poorly.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens the first time Triple H doesn't give us what we want as fans, because I think everybody's loving what he's doing right now, but we as wrestling fans kind of got everything we wanted.
Yeah.
It was like a WrestleMania where everything the fans wanted happened. And that probably wouldn't have happened with Vince. I think, Roman Reigns might still be the champ.
Thank God he's gone.
Triple H was kind of pseudo in charge when the whole thing started with The Rock was going to be fighting Roman Reigns. And that was probably a Rock decision. But, if we're going to praise Triple H when things go well, we also have to hold him accountable when they don't. It's a two-way road. And that would have been horrible. So I'm really excited to see where they're going, because the storylines and the things that draw back to old times and the previous things, like if Stone Cold had come out, Stone Cold and John Cena were on that bus that everybody kept talking about when The Rock was beating up Cody, and Roman Reigns grabs the chair, and instead of hitting Cody and maybe finishing that match, he hit Seth in the exact same way that Seth hit Roman. So all of these callbacks and all of these things that just make sense, it's so much better storytelling. And It was said multiple times throughout the show by The Rock and by other people, but like pro wrestling is very cool right now because of what Triple H and everybody's doing. It's easy to talk about, and a lot of people are following, which is awesome.
Sure. I agree. No, I think so. Like I said, the Triple H thing, we're interested to see. I'm sure he's going to have some misses, but I NXT was so great. I don't know if hopefully he doesn't miss. All right, Brad, I don't want to jump over you. Don't worry about the clock. Brad, what about you, man? Where are we headed? What are your thoughts?
Man, there's so many ways you can go. I definitely think AJ is the correct answer for a good program with Cody right off the hop. He's a red hot heel. Cody's a red hot baby face. And you know those matches are going to be bangers just because they can both work incredibly well. What I would like to see is somehow you get that title back onto Drew McIntyre, headed into Clash at the Castle. You give me Drew McIntyre versus Gunther, and then you give me the rematch when they go to Berlin. And I think those are two huge matches that can deliver.
That would be sick.
Main event.
That's great.
You do home and home. Yeah, I think that's the way you do it. You build those guys up. Maybe you pull the trigger in Berlin and put the title on Gunther for a little bit. But who knows? I mean, if that's the working man's title now, it's going to hop around, I would think.
I think so too, man. It's similar to the Intercontinental. Like, maybe we can go around a little bit between them. I do think, I don't think it cheapens it just because maybe because like, I think that when you have a lot of champions, it builds it. But I also get the part of like, well, you can't lose it every month. It doesn't make sense there, right? I do get that part of it. But
no, I'd like to see Drew win it at Backlash, hold it until Clash of the Castle, win it there.
How do you? I mean, what does Damian do then if he loses? That's a
good
tough
question.
You know what I mean? Then it's like, damn, your reign lasted a month.
He's already himself as the leader of the Judgment Day.
Sure.
So it's like,
do you guys feel like the Judgment Day is going to break up? I think
yeah,
I think the Judgment Day is blowing up here soon. Which they've done a great job, man. They look, and we talked about this a lot, right? Is that I don't think that any group has ever turned it around the way that
this was a faction that was built for Edge.
Yeah,
and then they had to kick him out because Seth got hurt. Somebody got hurt.
Yeah.
And they needed a babyface. It's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. That
I would say probably the New Day.
I was just about to say the New Day too. I was waiting. The New Day turned it around. They'd be the one.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's fair. But that was damn. Now that I think about that, you're right because
they were brutal.
That was a pretty shit gimmick at first, and they did look. They made it great. They did. They turned it around themselves. So good on them. I agree. Okay. Well, a lot of good thoughts. I'm excited to see where we're going. I mean, with all of wrestling, but WWE right now is. Can't miss television, man. We're in that era. Everybody says, "Oh, the Attitude." I love the Attitude Era. I do, but this is, we always talk about the Attitude Era as like nostalgic thing. When this era is over, we will talk about this era that we're in currently.
Oh, 100%. Give yourself points for that one.
Oh, thank you. I will give myself a point for that one. All right, we're gonna. I do have 8 minutes on this, but we're not gonna spend all day. We talk a little bit about it. This is the most frustrating thing of all time, right? With AEW as of today, you could go either way with last night, right? And it's not just last night though, right? I think for me, the CCTV stuff, I don't care. I didn't care to begin with. We know how Punk is as a talker. Look, Punk gonna talk that shit always. That's just what he does. He's gonna talk that shit always. He is I don't think he's naturally an unhappy person. I think he just doesn't stand for anything he doesn't put up with any shit, and that's fine. Right, but I think sometimes shit just happens, unfortunately. That just is what it is. I don't know if I was willing to die on a lot of the swords that he's died on, but yesterday I just don't know. I don't know. And I also don't care, and I've told this, the wrestling journalism community, if you are writing interviews, great. If you are speaking about experiences and what you experienced at an event, great. If you are a person who talks about backstage politics and says the word sources, you are hot garbage. Absolute trash. I do not like it. I think it's dumb. It's clickbait bullshit. I hate it. So all of this last night, all it did was just fuel. There's like 40 different people who are like, my source at AEW said it was this, and my source... Bro, there's only so many people that work there that are talking to y'all. That's just how it is. So I hate it. I don't love that. Aside from that, Kazuchika Okada works for AEW, and I'm going to see a Rainmaker on TV every damn week, and I'm happy about it. So that's where my focus is right now. Kazuchika Okada eventually winning the AEW title, Kenny Omega returning, putting on bangers, Will Ospreay being maybe the best professional wrestler in the world, actually in ring. There's so many opportunities. I hope they get it righted. I hope they right the ship. I used to say the same. Look, everybody said the WCW 2000 thing. It is much better than WCW 2000. However, it's very similar to WCW 99, which wasn't much better than WCW 2000. That's my soapbox. I hope that they get it together. I hope they wrap it up. FTR is my favorite tag team. I hope they get it together. I'm going to still watch Dynasty, right? Because I'm not going to miss a pay-per-view because they haven't yet missed on a pay-per-view, regardless of if you like the wrestlers or you know the storyline or any. Their pay-per-views are unbelievable. So That's my thought. Nick, what about you?
So I'm not a huge AEW fan, but obviously I wanted to tune in and see what all the hype was about on this video.
It worked. So there, it worked. We got one
it
for
did. I was part of the 800. Well, I watched it on X. I didn't watch it on the actual show. So
I don't know if they count those.
It didn't even work for me. But I think when Punk went on Colt Cabana's show and he talked about, I had a baseball-sized lump on my back wrestling in the Royal Rumble. The first thing WWE did was they showed every angle of Punk's back during that match to kind of discredit what he said. So going into it, I thought that was exactly what we were going to get. Maybe he stumbled. Maybe Perry got the upper hand. Maybe it wasn't the way that he said it went, but it looked like it went exactly the way he said it went. So what was the purpose of showing it? I don't understand. You didn't make him look bad. You made him the most popular wrestler on 2 shows, one of which he's outcasted.
He's not even
from.
on, right?
They're chanting his name when the Young Bucks come out. Tony Schiavone looks like he wants to kill himself.
See, that's probably the worst part is the Schiavone thing. I do feel bad because it's like he did look distraught, like, oh my God, I work here. And if
you're Tony Schiavone,
he's already been through it.
WCW.
He's been through it. He knows. That's what I said yesterday.
Again.
He said, look, he's the reason 83 weeks ended. Everyone knows that. Not him personally, but what he said is the reason 83 weeks ended. Everyone knows that. So anytime I see Eric Bischoff comment on the internet about this, that, and the other, you did it too. So I don't want to hear that shit. We put him out the pasture and let Tony Schiavone. I just think that I agree with you there. It's like that sentiment of like, what did we accomplish? Other than we made Hook a superstar, right? Hook just chilling there. I'm waiting for Hook. Hook's got a bag of chips, and he's just like, I guess there's a fight going on, right? And then Chris Hero at the end. Chris Hero's like, oh no, what has happened? And I'm just like, oh God, I don't know if it's like it didn't add anything for me until I did like the way FTR approached it in the ring. I thought that was a cool addition to this to that part of it. So I like their creative spin on that part of it. I just don't know that it really needed to be showed, other than I felt like they maybe were defending themselves. They're like, hey, look, we get it. Punk said his piece, and this is what happened, and that's cool. He did, however, choke a guy out at work in the backstage where you're not choking people out. So I don't it's just whatever. I don't know.
That rise and fall of AEW Blu-ray is going to be
that's
fire,
going to hit
though,
like,
man.
what do they say? It's going to
you.
hit like crack. Amazing. Brad, what about you, man? What are your thoughts?
I just, for the life of me, I do not understand the point of it. I mean, I get it. CM Punk said some things, but that's what CM Punk does. And when they announced this, it was like, oh shit, like maybe Punk lied and like we're going to see him get caught in a lie. And then everything he said is what happened. I mean, there's no audio to it, so you can't really tell what was said and what the exchange was. But like, to me, it just, I don't understand why you're making somebody who no longer works for you the star of your company. Because all it did was CM Punk was trending #1 on Twitter. And to me, all you're doing is giving WWE more publicity during their biggest week of the year.
Like
and
they need it anymore. They've been on every
for the life
shit,
of me,
right?
I don't get it. To me, it doesn't make any sense.
I agree. Danny, what are your thoughts before I ask that other question?
Well, let me prelude this by saying I want nothing more than for AEW to be successful and be right.
Same. We all want that, right?
I think, if I can jump back in, I think when AEW showed up, it was an alternative. You know, they didn't want to compete. They just wanted to be damn good wrestling for wrestling fans. And now I have no idea what's going on there.
And they wanted to compete to a certain extent in the sense of like, hey, we are an alternative. We have a billionaire funding this, not billionaire Ted. Yes. We have an actual wrestling guy fan who put on the biggest independent show of all time, who helped do that. They wanted to compete, but they didn't want to do it directly. And their subtle jabs were always good. The Cody Rhodes throne thing was awesome. There was a lot of cool stuff, right? But I agree with that. Sorry, Danny, go ahead.
That's fine. You're gonna have to bleep me out now because I think Tony Khan comes off as a fucking loser, 100% loser.
Yeah,
WWE is locked in right now, breaking records financially. The roster is absolutely killing it. They have such great buzz around them, and AEW pulls a petty move like this. This is what shoots you in the leg, and then all of a sudden people stop watching your show and people get pissed off at what you're doing.
Yeah.
you're right. FTR spun it as good of a way they could have, but I just think that ruins you. And then you got Will Ospreay coming out taking shots at Triple H, and then someone pulls a quote that says, "No, like Will Ospreay, you said that you chose AEW in part because of schedule. Like now you come off as a fucking idiot."
Yeah, I don't, and that's the part that's so frustrating with Ospreay. It's like was that really even needed? Like I just
not
don't.
At all.
I don't know.
Nope.
I don't understand that.
And Ospreay's killing it. Like he's one of the highlights of AEW right now.
Yeah,
he's cutting great promos. He's gonna have a banger of a match anytime he's out there, and then you just ruin it by doing what you do. It's like they need to go back to where they started.
I agree.
It's building good feuds, having great matches, focus on yourself, and you'll naturally compete where you don't have to try. Ignore
me right now. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to throw you off there. My light is going out. Man, this is my first time podcasting. I don't know if y'all know that. What a first for me. Sorry about that. All right, we're back. Yeah, I agree, man. That's the thing. I think that the Will Ospreay thing was just like, bruh, you clearly chose the lesser schedule, and that's okay. He gave you more money. They did, like, you're still Billy Goat, and I'm not discounting that. I just thought it was so dumb. My other thing is, like we talked about the internet wrestling community, is that they do this thing too where whatever their point is, they're going to find something to validate their point, right? And that's fine too. I get that. But it's like sometimes it's very poignant and it does make sense, and other times I'm like, all right, now we're just fueling the fire, and I don't even know if either company actually cares. It may just be us. And so that's okay too, I guess, at this point, right? So all that to said, Destiny, April 21st, we're all going to watch it. I know we are. I can feel the split coming now. All right, let's reload it up. How about this one? This is a fun one. Trivia time, baby. Who's excited?
Oof,
trivia time.
Not me.
And you call yourself a fan. And we're back. All right. This is a great one. I'm very excited about this, as everybody knows. Whoops. 5 questions. If you get it right, you get a point. Some are multiple choice, some are not. Sometimes you got to guess. So who's excited about that? And we're going to kick it off with, at the September 1995 In Your House, who were Vince's broadcast partners? Jim Ross and Lawler, Doc Hendricks and Jim Cornette, Jim Ross and Todd Pettengill. This is the September 95 In Your House. And Nick, you were the first guest, baby. So what do you got?
It's a tough one. I'm going to say 95 was probably... Let's go Doc Hendricks and whoever was with him.
Doc Hendricks and Jim Cornette. All right, good. Danny, what about you?
I'm going to go with Toddy P.
Todd Pettengill and Jim Ross. Okay, what about you, Brad?
Yeah, I'm going C on this one.
You're going C, Ross and Pettengill. I am going to go... I'm going to go Ross and Lawler. Boom! It is Ross and Lawler.
Wow!
Let's go, PJ.
He's cheating his own game already.
Let's go. I wish I was. Hey, before we get too far, let's show the leaderboard here. Leaderboard is myself. I am losing. Danny is winning. I am second though. Brad and Nick coming up the rear. All right, number 2. Who drew number 1 in the 1994 Royal Rumble? Fatu, Samu, or Scott Steiner? This is the 1994 Rumble. Brad Myers.
I'm going to take a stab here and say Fatu.
All right. Danny.
I'm going to piggyback and go Fatu as well.
Fatu. All right. Nick.
Fatu.
I am going to go Samu. Oh, Steiner. So we're all wrong.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I thought they left at that point, honestly.
All
right. Who were Power and Glory's opponents at the 1990 SummerSlam? The Rockers, Demolition, or Orient Express? Danny?
Rockers.
Drip. You're going Rockers. Nick?
Rockers.
Power and Glory, you said?
Yep.
I'll go Orient Express.
Okay. Brad?
I'm going to go with Demolition.
I'm going to go Rockers as well. It is the Rockers. Do you guys know why we know that? They actually injure Shawn Michaels, and that's when they break up. Yeah. All right. At the 19
I was not born yet.
I gotta give us points for that one. D-Tank. Where are you at, bro? All right. At the 1988 SummerSlam, Frenchie Martin carried a sign. What did it say? I'll go first. He was with Dino Bravo, obviously, and I'm gonna say, oh God, who did Dino fight? It's such a hard one. I'm gonna say Canada's strongest man, Brad. What do you got?
I have no idea. Dino's number one.
Dino's number one. Okay, I love that. Nick, what about you?
I'll say he said, who did he fight in the?
I had this VHS for a long time too. I should know what the sign said.
I'll say it said Dino Bravo, and then the greater sign, and then Hercules.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I like that. Danny, what about you?
Probably said something like, I am a cuck.
Oh my God, it does say I am a cuck.
Wow.
It says USA is not okay.
Wow.
Wow. All right. This is an easy one. We're all getting this one. What WWF superstar hails from Greenwich, Connecticut? Triple H.
Yeah.
Everybody agree? Who are you going with?
Mean Street Posse.
Mean Street. Okay, they weren't in this one yet. I'll give you that. It's not quite that late. Are we all going Triple H? Is that what we all agree to?
Yes.
It is Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So shout out to WWF trivia, and you call yourself a fan. That's always a good one. I love that. All right. Well, we all got points for that one. So we're hanging around. Everybody's moving up the board. Let me show the scoreboard really quickly. Hold on. We're getting close. We're coming into it. All right. This part is another good one. We're super excited. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Who did it better? Sorry, I'm losing my mind. This one is a new segment that I know Brad sent me today. However, if you guys are on Twitter, follow Grapple Clips. I think is his Twitter name. I'll hash it here on the video for YouTube. Grapple Clips, it's awesome. He's got he posts a bunch of cool stuff, and he always does like who did it better, frog splashes, angle slams, all the things. So we thought, what better way than to do that? Brad sent me that, and I thought it would be a great one today to do. So with that being said, our first one is the Cody Cutter versus the Os Cutter. So Cody's version of it versus Will Ospreay, the Cody Cutter, and Brad, who did it better and why?
I think Ospreay did it better. The way he does it just looks like it connects more deadly.
Man, I'm going to take a point away from you. Hold on, before you say why, I'm just going to take a point away from you, but go ahead.
I think the way he does it, he floats. You know, he's got those hops.
Sure.
But if you want to see a really good one, that kid in NXT did one on Tuesday.
Javon Evans?
Unbelievable.
Dude, the way that Javon Evans runs the ropes, it's funny that you said that. He did that thing where he caught the rope differently at like an angle and then hit I was like, holy shit, this kid is amazing.
Yeah,
and I know he was like an indie darling for like a year, right? Or something like that. He's blown up. Incredible. I thought, yeah, I do agree. That cutter was sick. So you're going Ospreay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going Ospreay.
All right. Danny Tanc, what about you, man?
I mean, it's pretty easy for me. It's Ospreay.
Okay.
There's not a lot of wrestlers in this world that could do half the stuff the guy can and just make it so effortless, fluent. Like, it's perfection.
Okay. All right. I like that. What about you, Nick? Which one you picking, Cody or Ospreay?
Well, I'm picking Cody, but as soon as this is over, I'm going to go YouTube Ospreys so I can actually have an educated guess. But I'm going to go Cody.
I love it.
I like Cody. So
two points for being that. I am going to go. I'm also going to go Cody too, and I'll tell you why. I think Cody's is a little bit out of character. It's very similar to the Cena infrared, right? Where Cena used to do that, or the sky blue thing that she called, whatever she calls it. And I always thought that was so cool. And you're just like, what? Or Dustin Rhodes does the Canadian Destroyer. I'm like, when certain wrestlers do certain things, you're like, okay. However, my biggest thing with moves like that, and I love signature moves in wrestling. It's one of my favorite things. But signature moves to finish a match only work in WWE 2K. It's never worked in a match. Just like, I don't know that, I don't think the Blue Thunder Bomb has ever finished a match. And I don't think that the short arm clothesline by Jake Snake ever finished the match.
They're called falsies, bro. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So but I am going to go Cody's because I think it's a cool. I think it was great that he added it. I always thought it was cool. I do love Ospreay. I'm a huge Ospreay guy. Bruv. But I'm going to go with Cody as well. All right. That's a great one. We love that one. A big Cody. Cody versus Ospreay. This, however, is the better. Who did it better? Tanc or Mark Henry? Ladies and gentlemen, that is very own Danny Drip on the right versus Mark Henry's retirement of the same. You know what I love is that Danny had no idea. That's actually
not a clue.
That's my favorite part. So
that's the whole point of this segment.
Who did it better, Danny Drip or Mark Henry? And Danny, I'm gonna let you go first, big dog.
I did it better, and I'll tell you just one reason why. Because in that jacket, who had a girl on their lap at the end of the night?
I love that.
Your boy did. So you know what? God damn it, I get the W.
I love it. All right, Tanc, I love it. Nick, who you got, man? Who did it better?
Oh, definitely Danny. For the point that he just said, but then on top of that, everybody, Mark Henry, they thought he was retiring, so he could have worn anything. Danny went into Philadelphia
and chose violence,
Center City, with that outfit on. So it's got to be Danny.
I love that. All right, Brad, what about you, man?
Danny Drip's got to win it for me. I drove 7.5 hours, and that's what I was greeted with, and I didn't have a clue if I was having a fever dream or if this guy just had the worst Mark Henry cosplay I've ever seen in my life. But Danny Drip's got to win it for me.
I love that. That's good stuff. I'm going to also go, man, Danny Drip. He was killing the game very bad. I loved it.
Thank you, boys.
Danny was on one, man. I love it. Good stuff. Well, this has been a great time, man. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. This is Around the Mat Pod. I am at PJ North, and we've had a great time talking wrestling. So many things happening in the world of wrestling right now. If you're a fan of wrestling, it is a great time. If you are not a fan of wrestling, now's the time to get into it. There's so much out there to find. There's no gatekeeping in certain places, so ask a friend, tell a friend, whatever you need to do. Find out. But this has been Around the Mat Pod, and Danny, you are the champ, so everybody knows how this works. Danny, you get 59 seconds, buddy.
Sure.
And it's your turn. Give us your spiel, baby.
Listen, I probably don't need the full minute. Always fun to get a W and hang out with the boys on the show. But all I want to talk about is WrestleMania weekend. If you haven't done it before, get your boys, get a group of guys to go down there and just enjoy the weekend. Because honestly, there is not much better than getting to enjoy some pro wrestling, doing all the conventions, tailgating, having some beers with the boys. It was definitely enjoyable. I got to see PJ. I got to see all the good friends that not necessarily always get to see anyway. So that camaraderie over pro wrestling, there is nothing like it, nothing better, and I can't wait for the next one.
I do agree with you, man. I think that's something we didn't talk about. The WrestleCon World, the Superstore. Brad, I mean, you drove 7 hours, the perfect example. And you pretty much got to do a lot of stuff in a short amount of time.
Oh, yeah.
What was your favorite part of WrestleMania weekend outside of WrestleMania?
Oh, hanging with the boys for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Agreed. Yeah, I thought it was, it's just amazing to be able to bring people into the group, right? About Brad and Dustin into the group of guys that I talk to every day in the wrestling group chat. And Nick, you've been, right? And you went when they had WrestleMania access. What's your thought on it going to a WrestleMania?
I had a great time just going. It's hard for me, I have a young child,
right? Sure.
Everything, so it's hard for me to sit through those shows. But I just like going for the fan fest and the fair. So WrestleCon was awesome. Meeting all of my heroes when I was a kid. I met Ahmed Johnson, which was awesome because I've always wanted to meet him.
Hell yeah.
I thought he was the greatest. When he was feuding with Goldust and stuff. Got to meet Kurt Angle, which is a check off my bucket list. Had a wonderful time with a bunch of friends, just like Danny said and everything. I don't know if you guys went to the World. They had these helmets pre-signed by a bunch of different wrestlers, and you didn't know who you got.
Danny did a break. Did you do a break, Nick?
I got one. Danny, who'd you get?
I pulled Seth Rollins.
A one of 9 or 1 of 10 Seth Rollins.
10.
Yeah.
I got Bobby Lashley.
Did you get one? Which one was that one?
It was a one of 5 as well.
Oh, so he got even better.
Nice.
Yeah. The funny thing was I bought one, and there was a guy at the counter that was like, oh, I'm really lucky. I'll open it for you. So I was like, okay, no problem. So he opens it, and he's like trying to sell me, but I know what I got. And he's like, oh, you got 2 signatures. It's Indus Shear. And I was like, yeah. So
that's hilarious.
Then we're walking around. My wife could see I was defeated, so she was like, "Do you want one more?" I was like, "Well, I'm not buying another one. They're $130." She was like, "I'll buy it for you." So I'm like, "Okay." They said they had like 4 left. So,
you really did get Indus Shear? I thought he was joking.
No, I got Indus Shear. So I got my second one, and I got this. I look to my right, and there's these 2 kids, and they look absolutely defeated, really sad. They wanted stuff. Their dads were trying to tell them to get out of there. So I reached into my bag and I gave him the Indus Shear one. And like you would have thought, I gave this kid.
Hell yeah.
It looked like Cody Rhodes when he got the title. But it was cool. And they were super happy for it. So it's nice to pay it forward. I like doing stuff like that, making, that kid was cool. Super happy until he opened it and saw it was Indus Shear. And then he probably,
he got home and he was else, that mother, honestly, that was an underrated thing that we did. Was the break live. I thought that was really cool. As Danny will tell, he's part of Filthbomb Wrestling, Filthbomb Breaks. Big shout out to them. The Card Foundation Pod. They do this. That's their job, right? That's their thing. And this guy to do a live break, we caught it on video. I thought that was super cool. And it was dope. A 1 of 10 set. Like, that was incredible. The guy in front of us, however, got the 1 of 1. What did he get? The 1 of 1?
I think it was a Natalia.
Yeah. Was it Natty? Is that what he said? Either way, it was the 1 of 1, though.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Because, they had 3 different colors, right? One was 1 of 1, one was 1 of 5, one was 1 of 10 or whatever. Unbelievable. I thought that was a really cool element to the world. The world was awesome. Superstore, all the things. I thought it was really cool. So shout out to WWE for really doing it up big at WrestleMania. All right, well, all that being said, thank you guys so much for joining again. I am the PJ North. This is Around the Mat Pod, where we go around the mat and talk a little wrestling, do all types of segments and stuff. Brad Myers refs, Canada's favorite referee, Danny Tanc, Danny Drip from Filthbomb Wrestling in the bottom right, and Nick Fiorentino, top right, Eagles proud. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, man. It's been a great time. To everyone who's listening, thank you all so much. If you're listening again, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, leave us a review, 1 or 5 stars, because we love both. We're trying to figure out what's good, what's not. Until next week, boys, thank y'all so much for joining us at Around the Mat Pod.